Welcome to Brawlhalla.
I am just a risk for anyone that decides to have me on their team. And I don't think I will ever have another gig after this one, so I'm gonna make the best of it. That we get to cast Vocal versus Flamethrower, baby.
Oh my goodness, Flamethrower already going big. Guitars into guitars, Vocal on his classic Asuri, Flamethrower on the Ember. Vocal though getting the best of the exchanges so far. Sidelight and Light not gonna get the Enzig. And Flamethrower returning with a side air. Not gonna be enough to even up the damage, so he needs a bit more than that. That's a good start. Recovery, and it's basically toe to toe. Vocal though, making use of that low defense, making use of Ember's weakness, getting the first KO.
I think Vocal feels so much more comfortable in this set than it did against Merlin, because they don't have to worry about getting punched by Lance or Axe, which I think is something that they really struggled with. And because they were trying to respect two of the heaviest weapons in the game, they missed out on so much potential damage. But against Bow and Katars, he doesn't look as scared. He's like, yeah, I can go in a little bit safer because these weapons generally don't hit as hard as a Lance and Axe. Oh, but the answer does though. He just teleported. He got hit by that Ensig, and he was just in the blast zone a frame after. But my man just evaporated.
I feel like it's also a matter of playstyles because, from what I have heard, Flamethrower is generally a lot more of a reserved player, and I think we're seeing the side of him in this set more than we did in this set against Merlin. Or wait, he did play against Merlin, did he? Didn't he? No, he played against Cider. Apologies. Yep.
No, but I definitely get what you mean. I think this is not as aggressive Flamethrower that we saw in the earlier set this tournament.
I think he was definitely forced into that forward playstyle by that lance and by that spear, because if you're playing Katars into that, you kind of just need to hold W, or else you're just gonna get outranged and zoned down.
Hold W, so you mean just hold aim up and spam bananas?
Shut out.
This isn't a first-person shooter, fam. This isn't Overwatch. This isn't Valorant. This isn't Apex.
I'm going to bind my W key to moving forward in game.
Okay, but it's two directions. You can move forward.
Don't care. I'll do it anyway. I'll use my mouse to determine which direction it goes.
You're just gonna write an entire script trying to, like, you're gonna grab a script, like you're gonna write something that takes the positions of both opponents, and depending on which one is higher or lower, it will define it will be the definition of forward, and that will be just set to your W key. You're gonna do all of that just out of spite.
Yes, absolutely.
I absolutely love you for that.
Oh my god, dude. Vocal having some spite himself as he takes out Flamethrower so quickly. My god, that... how long does that last?
2 minutes, maybe tops?
My goodness.
Flamethrower needs to restart. Okay. Happens. Some people just have hardware issues, some people have, software issues.
Yeah.
And as I said, software issues, this is the part where I start ranting about how getting rid of Windows 10 made my life infinitely better.
I can vouch, Linux is the way.
Exactly. You wanna know something really weird? Okay, hear me out. Because Linux has like the penguin icon, right?
Yep.
What's that game? I need to find it on my computer.
By the way, the penguin is called Tux.
Oh, there we go. There's this weird ass game called The Greatest Penguin Heist of All Time. I don't know what it's about. I've played it like a few times. It's such a dumb game. It's as if you were like James Bond. No, as if you were the main actor in not a James Bond movie, but a skit about a James Bond movie. And you're penguins. You can't possibly grab shit, like you have to clench it between your two flippers. And you have guns and grenades and radioactive waste that you can blow up in order to kill other penguins, but they're not actually dead, they're just being put to sleep.
Yeah.
And you can also belly slide in that game, I love it.
Speaking of penguins, look DMs.
Oh, thank god, no. What the shit?
You haven't watched Evangelion, have you?
No, not yet. But I know that it's Shinji though, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Why?
Don't worry about it. No, don't think about it. Okay, running it back. We're on Demon Island again. Flamethrower this time. Starting out with a bit of a lead. Starting out with the bow. Volcom managed to pick up the guitars finally after 20 seconds. After 15 seconds of being unarmed.
Vocal either gets like the way Vocal tries to go for reads. He gets like one hit, being it a dare or a sidelight. He waits half a second, tries to go for a read, and he either misses completely, or he gets the sickest possible 0 to death string imaginable. And there's like no middle ground for him. He's extremely explosive or extremely held back in how he goes for strings and reads.
Absolutely. And Flamethrower currently managing to hold him back, managing to keep a slight, very slight damage lead. I don't know if you could even call it that. Voco disarming himself, Flamethrower keeping the weapon to himself, not letting Voco have it. Ooh, did you see the hesitation on Voco on that?
I think Flamethrower restarting has been beneficial. This is such a quicker Flamethrower than we saw in the last game. Just their inputs feel so much more tighter, and like it's not that they've just become a better player. It's just that the game, plays better for them. If that makes any sense. Beautiful dare over the ledge. My goodness, that was perfectly spaced.
God, Blow Dare always gives me PTSD.
Why? Because I keep hitting Orb Dare on you constantly, and they're basically the same move. Is that what gives you PTSD?
Oh yeah, Orb Dare is a thing as well.
Vocal,
God.
evening up the stocks and the damage immediately. 2 minutes in, and it's 2-2 both in white. Vocal, sidelight, D-light, doesn't get a read, punished by a dare. Trying to go for it again. Like Flamethrower just sees these sidelights coming from a mile away and he does like a jump dare. Just to stall him a little bit in order to stay longer in the air.
Doesn't see them. Doesn't see enough of these sidelights though. As Voco's still getting a couple of these sidelight D-light strings, or combos rather, not being able to start any strings off of them though. Not getting any dodge reach just yet. And Sig not gonna connect either.
Vocal definitely struggling, trying to get the damage because Flamethrower is just playing way safer now. He's trying to respect Vocal, but Vocal just doesn't care. Just keeps chasing him. It's like they're playing Subway Surfers and Flamethrower is just the character that you're controlling and Vocal.
Shut up. Shut up.
I'm spitting, calm down. Yeah, I'm right.
Alright, guess the Cider, guess the KO. Man, when Cider bounces you off the stage and you still get KO'd, that's when you know you're damaged.
I mean, this is 4 defense we're talking about.
Wait, is it 4 or 3? What stance is he running?
I think he's on 4 defense. I think he runs either 4 or I've seen Flamethrower run 2 in 2s. Who's his teammate? I feel like I know them, but I don't like know to bind them to Flamethrower. You know what I mean? Like I know Flamethrower's teammate, I just don't know that they team Flamethrower. Yeah, Tias, you're right. Thank you. Vocal Flamethrower trying to have the Qatar showdown. I still need to see a good answer from Vocal though. If Vocal does it, I'm gonna scream at 11 p.m. That's gonna be insane.
Vocal has definitely been going for it a bit, but he's mostly been doing it on stage. He's GC'd it once. I guess it's fair enough because the risk is also high as well as the reward, but Vocal is definitely very cautious around using signatures.
I think Vocal might have been trying to condition Flamethrower with his answer at the beginning. Being like, hey, I'm gonna spam this at the entire beginning of the match. Then he never used it again, making Flamethrower think that he has adapted his game plan. And as Flamethrower was getting aware of the fact that he might have adapted and not used his answer anymore, he pulls one out.
Unfortunately,
maybe I'm just thinking too deep into this. But
who knows? anyway, these players do not need to think that deep as they get the KO. Either way, Boko coming up with a 2-0 lead.
Flamethrower on the ropes. He needs to do something insane, because it felt like they were both kind of made for each other, and Vocal just ran away with it at a certain point. Where once they got the ball rolling, Flamethrower had no idea how to.
Absolutely.
After this, the final set that I ever get to cast the Galaxy Cup match. End of an era. I mean, technically tomorrow there's as well, but I won't be there unfortunately because it's at night and it's like at 3 AM for me. I'm not doing that. I have a lot over to be able to cast for people, but not not my mental health.
3, 2.
It's gonna finish like 3 AM. It's not gonna start then.
Nah, fair enough. Anyways, Flamethrower. This might be their final game of the tournament. They're 2-0 behind in the set, and they have been kind of getting bodied by Vocal every game that they lost thus far.
Quite unfortunate because they did start off game number 2 with a lead, but then Vocal just put it right back. I feel like Flamethrower kind of found the adaptation, but then Vocal, you know, adapted to the adaptation, and now Flamethrower is just like behind and stuck on the back foot.
I think that makes sense. I think what also doesn't really help is just Flamethrower being on Ember, being stuck at max for defense. Because a lead, like you said, doesn't mean that much. As we saw in the previous game, you know, a lead on a low defense character means you have more issues trying to retain that lead, trying to be the person in charge of the match and the flow. Like, take this from that guy that plays 4 defense Dusk. Having a lead doesn't mean anything if you're not aggressive enough to build up even more damage, because you will die on 4 defense one way or another. So it's just about...
Yep.
So it's not really about trying to maximize your time at that point, but more so about trying to maximize your damage.
Absolutely, and it's hard. Flamethrower though, absolutely maximizing that combo, absolutely maximizing Vocal's health. As he is now in the white.
Breakdance. Yeah, I've got the stutter step. Just keep on dancing on that stage, Vocal.
Man, I love it when... I love watching micro movement, like micro adjustments in footsies. It's like the tiniest stuff, but it makes the biggest difference. Simple is a player that's really good at that just knows exactly how much distance he needs to move, like just in terms of walking to get a punish.
Exactly. I think one of the biggest micro movement improvements that I've made, you know, like trying to practice and get higher elo, is actually utilizing dash momentum cancels, which is just you dash forward, but you hold back in order to come to a standstill earlier. Like micro movements like that just give you just the right spacing to the point where you're not easy to punish, but you do have the advantage in the pressure game.
It's so useful, yeah. It's hard to pull off properly, like in an actual match if you're not used to it, but
it definitely takes
once
a
you
lot
do,
of memory and training. Like, you actually have to ram it in there and get used to it. It's not something... I don't think it's something easy to pull off because it's like a weird hand setting. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like 3-4 fingers at the same time, basically. Which can be uncomfortable, but once you actually get familiar with how to pull it off, it's pretty easy. Oh, Flamethrower. They've been keeping this game extremely even. Will it be enough for Flamethrower though?
This is the deciding stock at the current point. If Flamethrower wins this, we can go on and play a couple more matches here, or other games. But Vocal, I think Vocal just wants to close it out, man. And I think you also want to close it out, and I kind of want to close it out, because I am getting tired. Maybe you can hear.
I think Vogel isn't really doing his best trying to close it out because they're not as aggressive as I'm used to seeing from them in this tournament. It's more so that they're just trying to punish Flamethrow's mistakes because they're now starting to respect them more after not having as big of a lead that they're using. So like, okay, I'm gonna need to play a little bit safer. I don't want to take a lot of damage because Flamethrower has the damage lead. So I need to be more careful with my options. Had the dodge punish there, didn't go for it, however. And the jump call out from
Oh
the
my
N6
goodness.
Flamethrower.
Stays alive.
Right, like there's not really anything to be said at this point. The gameplay speaks for itself.
Oh god. Game chat. No.
We're not doing this. No, don't.
We're not talking about that. No. What in-game chat? What in-game chat? I only see Terra's Boo Steam emoji.
Exactly. Game chat is a game chat. Are just like the pigeons. They're created by government to spy on us. It's just a
Absolutely.
brains because Elon Musk put the chip in there.
3.
Yeah,
Right, man.
the exhaustion is hitting them. I need to go to work tomorrow, anyways.
The consistency with which these players stick to their guns. Vulcan not once considering swapping off the Surrey, not once considering going back to the Ragnar.
Yeah, I feel like that makes sense. I wouldn't want to be playing Axe into both Bow and Katars either, honestly. I think this is just a matchup dependent. Like
Yeah,
Axe lands is
absolutely.
the obvious answer because you're just using a heavy weapon to a heavy weapon, and then you have the Axe Diddle. You know? But playing Axe into two of the quickest weapons in the game, they're just asking to push neutral every time.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. The question is whether these quick weapons are gonna help Vocal win, because the sword did not seem to be doing anything there. Flamethrower was just outspacing anything that Vocal had.
Same damage, different stocks, Vocal yellow 2 and Flamethrower yellow 3. I feel like it's not so much Flamethrower changing, it's more so Vocal changing. Like, as if they have run out of energy, you know, and they need to tank up a little bit, but the gas prices are way too high nowadays.
Okay, bro.
What?
Just ride a bike here in the Netherlands.
Yeah, factual, but that's not as efficient. You see, like, if riding a bike, Vocal isn't quick enough. He needs to be on a motorcycle. That's what he needs, right? He needs to pick up the pace, and there it is close. Because he dodged, he didn't get all the damage from the recovery, not taking Flamethrower out just yet.
Man, if Vocal's on a bicycle, then Flamethrower is definitely a speed bump.
Nice.
That was definitely discouraging. Finally gets the KO, but he is quite damaged, nearly in the red.
Vocal double stacking the Katars. Flamethrower just stays out of Vocal's threat radius so well. They can just jump around constantly. And Vocal doesn't really have any platforms to work with. This is more Brawlhaven. Like, Flamethrower can go as high as he wants. And Vocal just has to accept it and try to catch the landing. Flamethrower's movement is pretty good so far. They haven't really been punished for trying to land on it. Because Vocal keeps disengaging. Like, Vocal gives too much respect to Flamethrower. Flamethrower is just abusing that fact.
Yeah, the amount of space that Flamethrower has been taking up, especially with these GC D-lights I've noticed. I forgot by the way. Like, those GC D-lights, they cover the ground, they cover like half a jump height, 1 jump height-ish. But they take up so much space horizontally as well, which is the worst part. And Vocal just does not know how to punish that, and he just does not know how to land against it. Man, that N6 has been killing so often for Flamethrower. This might just turn into a reverse 3-0, the way it is going right now.
There to recovery from coming out from Vocal, putting Flamethrower in the yellow. Oh, there we go. Kill him. No! Vocal!
Player 2 wins.
That ground pound was absolutely crazy.
Vocal, he had the perfect opportunity to do GCD as it. Why? Oh, that is such a throw. He's still in this. We are going to game 5.